Welcome everyone. Today is class number 6 in the Joy series, and today's class is called Anger, the Inner Teacher. Its title is based on a Talmudic statement, B'shlosha Dvarim Adam Nicker. You can recognize a person from 3 different factors, and they rhyme in the Hebrew. Bekiso, bekoso, ubekaso. Kiso means one's wallet. Literally mean wallet, but it means how people deal with money. Whether people feel secure or insecure, whether people are generous or stingy. People take it lightly, people get very upset over money. So it reveals a lot about your personality. Bekoso literally means cup, means if you drink a beverage that's intoxicating, that makes you drunk, how do you speak and act if you're drunk? It reveals a lot about the personality. Major difference between people when they get drunk, they get violent, or whether people, like I remember on Purim, when I was a young child, my father's close friend, Rabbi Shenker, we visited him in one Purim, and it sticks in my mind how when we came to his house, he was just so overflowing with the Avos Yisrael, just overflowing with these positive, with joy, simple Shem mitzvah, and just a wonderful sense came out. And I grew up inner city Baltimore, and you had a lot of people in the street that were drunk, and so people, when they drink an alcoholic beverage, you reveal a lot of your inner self. And the third quality and factor that reveals your personality is Picasso. When you get angry, what do you say and do when you get angry? There's a major difference between people when I grew up inner city, if they got angry, how they would talk, and a lot of people who spoke Yiddish, if they got a little upset, they would say sei gesund, which is a blessing, giving a bracha, be well. So there's a major difference. It means everybody can get angry, and how we speak and act in our anger tells a lot about our personality. So I wrote a book on this called Anger, the Inner Teacher, which is a 9-step formula for conquering anger. And right in the start, we're saying that there's a chapter in the book of one of the steps is mastering the midos, the character traits that are antidotes to anger. For instance, patience. We spoke yesterday when we spoke about midos development, character development, how patience is such an important quality. Joy. The more joyful a person is, the less irritated we get. Humility is a quality. So, the more we develop positive traits, the more we'll be free from anger. So that's, as regards to steps, that's further down, but talking about the idea and thinking about it, it's always good to think about how do I want to be, not how I don't want to be. When we talk about the 9 steps we give in the card, number 5 is I see myself being the way I wish to be, how do I want to be? So which qualities do I want to master that will free me from anger? So let's go step 1. Step 1 is make a commitment to conquer anger. Making that decision. For instance, happiness is a decision in the sense of you can make a decision. I want to be a joyful person. Yes?
Isn't anger good?
It's usually considered super harmful. However, yes. However, it has time and place. Like every trait will have its time and place.
When you need to fight, your body, like when you become angry, you're a good fighter, and you have more power to
Take somebody who's angry and get them against a keto master. The keto master is going to win all the time. A keto master's training to stay in a good state and to use harmony to subdue the other person. So now it's like, let's say you have a jar to open and you get a little frustrated. So if you get a little frustrated, okay, then you get a little more energy, you'll be able to open it. If you get too frustrated, you might throw the whole can down, hold the bottle down and smash it. So especially interpersonal relationships, anger is usually considered a negative trait. And again, a little bit, if a person wouldn't take action unless they get upset, then it's better to get a little bit upset, but it be just a drop. And all different midos, the reason why the Hebrew word for trait is midah, because it's called measure, because every trait has its time and place. So, in order to be motivated to conquer anger, there are 6 words, and which really they fall into 3 categories when we're motivated. There's right and wrong, gain and loss, pain and pleasure. Right and wrong. If something's the right, we tend to do it. If it's wrong, we don't do it. If we gain, we tend to do it. If we lose, we tend not to do it. If it's pleasurable, we tend to do it. And it's painful, we tend not to do it. So if something is in alignment with all 6, means it's right to do, wrong not to do, you gain by doing it, you lose by not doing it, it's pleasurable to do it and painful not to do it, whatever fits in all 6 categories together in harmony, in alignment, we're going to do. And the interesting thing about life is most situations have mixtures. They don't really go together. Like something can be wrong, but it's hard to do. It's painful to do. But when it comes to anger, all of the 6 work in harmony. First is right and wrong. There's a mitzvah in the Torah to guard your health. Shmartem o l'nafsho seichem. Guard your health. It's wrong to cause yourself physical harm. Anger causes many physical problems. There's a husband and wife team that wrote a book called Anger Kills. They have a whole book of describing all the different potential illnesses and problems to one's heart, to one's brain, that will be harmed with anger. And usually people ask, isn't holding in anger a problem? And the answer is yes, it is. Suppressing anger is a problem, and releasing it is also a problem. So the key element, we need to have the right way, and with all traits, we need a wise balance. Now, besides anger itself being harmful to our own health, we cause harm to other people. Even something said in anger hurts another person. All the more so, verbal abuse, physical abuse, all because of anger. A good percentage of murders are because of anger. So anger causes personal problems. Now, there was an interesting study. A number of cardiologists did a study. They wanted to see if people who had a heart attack and then they got angry, whether it would be fatal. So they divided up anger into 7 different levels, like extreme rage all the way to slight anger. And see if somebody recently had a heart attack and they got which level of anger would be fatal. Now, they had a footnote to this research. There was a number of doctors from different hospitals that they didn't do set-up experiments. Now, what that means is that the guy grew up near Johns Hopkins Hospital. So, for instance, they didn't say, you know what we'll do? We'll get a few patients. We'll go get a list of all the people who had heart attacks in the last week and are still in the hospital. And we'll make sure to get them very angry. Like, we'll wake them up at 3 o'clock in the morning and say they have to leave the hospital immediately. We need the bed. And we'll give them a bill for 5 times the amount of price they think they should be getting. And of course, the guy's going to get very angry that and we'll see if how angry he gets, and if he gets a heart attack and he dies from the second heart attack, the first heart attack. They didn't do that because it would have considered unethical and immoral to purposely try to get a person who recently had a heart attack, getting him angry, in order to see, for medical purposes, whether it would be fatal. So they had to wait till they got angry on themselves against the staff or their family members and see how they responded. So all the more so, that's a statement that we should be careful ourselves about our anger. There's gain and loss. We think clearly, we'll gain. We lose out by getting angry. People quit good jobs. People break up relationships. Families aren't in speaking terms, all because of anger. And pain and pleasure, ultimately, when a person is joyful, full of gratitude and kindness, that gives positive feelings, gives happiness. Now, the problem is that when we get angry, there's a certain release by letting go, by expressing that anger, by slamming a door, by screaming. It's release. But it's not the best release. And we'll talk about different tools and techniques. For anger, that's a whole section. We'll deal with that. So we have right, wrong, gain, loss, pain, pleasure, and they all work together in alignment to conquer anger. Yes?
What happened at the end of that study? Did a cardiologist?
Yeah, I mean, just the
found out
extreme.
that anger was.
Yeah, so they did statistics, how the levels of anger. So of course it's dangerous for one's health. I mean, basically, exact statistics. What percentage? I don't remember. I saw it years ago, but it was like obvious. The whole thing that very much not recommended for a person with a heart condition to get angry. It's interesting that when I was doing research for Anger Their Teacher, I came across a newsletter that was called Anger, the Volcano Within. And I thought that was interesting. That's why if you look at anger as a volcano, that means every time you start getting a little upset, so, the volcano is beginning to erupt, and the volcano is a little dangerous. So I think the calling as a metaphor, the volcano within, I think it's a very harmful metaphor, and that's why I like, based on the Talmudic statement, the anger the inner teacher, because it teaches me what's upsetting to me, what's important to me, it shows me my values, it shows me, am I overreacting or not overreacting. Also, the Talmud says that when a person gets angry, even where a chacham, a person's wise, they're going to lose their wisdom. We don't think straight when we get angry. The whole system, everything is ready to fight. And the point you raised before was anger helps a person fight. So when we get angry, our fight or flight system gets activated. So for instance, a person's digestive system shuts down because you don't need to digest food as a high priority. You need to either fight or run away, one of the two, and that can be life-saving. But that's why people get digestive problems by frequent anger. Okay, so that's the step one. First of all, be committed to conquer anger. Number two is recognize anger. Recognize it. How do you know that somebody else is angry? We can see it and we can hear it. You can watch a person's muscle tension. You can hear in the voice. Now, it's very easy to deny anger. And you ever hear somebody say, I'm not angry? Some people say, I'm not angry, I'm just frustrated. It's really frustration and anger are in the same category, except frustration is usually lighter than the word anger, but it's all because something's happening that I don't like. So this Dollard-Miller hypothesis that frustration leads to anger, but doesn't have to, because ultimately, in between the stimulus and response, there's your thought. And it's always your thoughts that are going to create anger. What you tell yourself, your self-talk, can either reinforce your angry feelings. How dare that person do this? And why did they say this? And they shouldn't have said this. And I did so many good things to them, and that wasn't right of them. And the more we have our self-talk that justifies our anger, the angrier we'll be. And the more likely that when we interact with the other person, we're not going to do it with an inner wisdom. We won't do it at our best. So recognize anger. And recognize even little anger. It's so very easy to blame somebody else. I'm not only angry because other people get me angry. Now, that's usually true. Simple reason, very few people walking down the street, they don't see anything or hear anything, and all of a sudden they just have an angry memory and they start blowing up. What's happening? Nothing. Just nothing. Nobody said anything, did anything. Just that all of a sudden they remember things they got angry about. People that are labeled psychotic have that frequently. Simple reason, you can have all kind of crazy things going on in your life. Like the same way we all have psychotic dreams. Not some people do. Everybody does. Dreams are not rational. And when we have a thought of anger, the key element is not giving in to it. I saw a video, some people taught the idea how our thoughts create our reactions. And there was a fellow who was in a federal prison, about a 30-year sentence for violent crimes. And he always kept getting himself in trouble because whenever somebody looked at him the wrong way or said something they didn't like, he would start physically beating the person up. It was a high-security prison, and so the guards were always around, and they grabbed him and put him in solitary confinement. And this would happen fairly frequently. And then somebody came along, they had a social worker teaching over this idea that it's your thoughts that create your reaction, and just because you have a thought, I have to punch somebody, you don't have to do it. And this person was interviewed, and he says, I never knew that. I never realized that when I hear this inner voice, punch him, beat him up. He can't say that to you. He can't look at you that way. I didn't realize I don't have to hit anybody. Now, how much education, he was like an elementary school dropout. How much education, intellect does this person have to realize if you're in a federal prison, the guards are right there, then throw you in solitary confinement, that it's not worthwhile giving somebody a punch? I never met anybody else that didn't realize that that's not a salutary thing to do. Even if a person wants to punch somebody, don't do it when the guards are right there. So, but even this fellow with this tremendous temper, the understanding, getting that awareness, it's my thoughts, and I don't have to speak and act according to my anger thoughts. And that's really a key element in the whole thing. So number 3, the third step for conquering anger is recognize what patterns create your anger. There's always this feeling that what the person's doing is wrong, they shouldn't be doing it. And the more positive a person's self-esteem is, the positive self-image you have, the less angry you'll get. Because a person with a lower self-esteem says, I have to stop people from being disrespectful to me, and I have to fight for my rights to be spoken with respect. Definitely, everybody should be spoken to with respect. It's a tremendous obligation. Everybody deserves respect. We're all created in God's image. However, if the more you feel positive about yourself, the less you have to prove it to other people, the less you're going to end up being excessive anger when somebody doesn't show you respect they should show you. So the more positive you feel about yourself, that frees a person from anger. Even a parent to a child, a parent that has low self-esteem will look at it that the child doesn't obey me when I say they should do something, I have to show them who's boss. And a parent who is calm and thinking clearly, feels positive about himself, you want the child to also have a positive sense of self. So you have to teach a young child positive patterns of speaking and acting, and you don't need to get angry to create that. You might need to keep repeating yourself, to get the message across. So again, thoughts, recognizing your personal thoughts to create the anger. And that's where reframing comes in. The way we look at something is the way it affects you. I always say when there are classes that when somebody's telephone rings, you say, Baruch Hashem, I'm alive, Baruch Hashem, I can hear. I was at a workshop with somebody who knows about anchors and knows about states, got really upset when somebody's telephone went off the second day. Everybody paid the 3-day workshop. Everybody paid $900 for those 3 9-to-5 workshops. And when somebody's telephone went off, the person started screaming at the group. He said, whoever's telephone went off, shut that telephone off. Telephone goes off again, get out of here. So I thought that was very interesting because he knows about reframing and states because he wrote about it. And now, I know 100% you can write about anger and still get angry. It doesn't guarantee you. All it means say that you have the ideas and you know the ideas. You can still be in a state, under state. So I didn't tell him anything in person, in public, but privately, he asked me how things are going. I said, I liked a lot of things you said, but when I told him when a telephone rings, when I get my classes, I think, let's thank God I'm alive, thank God I can hear. And he should have said, that's a good reframe, that'll put people in a positive state, or argue with me for some valid reason. Instead, all he did was get angry at me, don't give me a new age blankety blank. I'm not going to say word for word what he said. So I thought that made the whole thing worthwhile for me. Simple reason, I saw, here's a person that give you these workshops, and you can gain a real lot from his fellow's workshop, but he still wasn't able to reframe a telephone ringing. And now a key point in reframing is it's always your personal thoughts that create your reaction. As we mentioned yesterday, when we spoke about character development, every challenging situation is an opportunity to keep developing your mitos, keep developing your character traits. So this too will help me develop my character traits. This too will help me develop my character traits. Let's say that sentence together. This too will help me develop my character traits. And the Lefum Tzara Agra, according to difficulty, is the reward. The harder it is in a given situation to react in a positive way, the more elevating it is. The fourth step is speak with mutual respect, even in a situation that is getting you angry. Because we have a choice how we speak. So the key element is mutual respect. And the more difficult it is, the more we need to practice in advance. So we want to, our tone of voice plays a major role, especially a teacher. We find the sages say, Lo kaptan melamed. If a person, the word kaptan doesn't even mean anger, it just means a person who, of every little thing, they have, let's say they set the rules, and if children don't listen exactly to how he wants them to be, he gets angry at them, gets upset with them. So a kaptan melamed, a person who's a kaptan, overreacting, shouldn't be a teacher, because let's say a person's teaching a subject, teaching algebra, teaching French. The person doesn't know how to speak French. The person doesn't know algebra. You say you can't be another teacher in some other subject, but you can't teach algebra if you don't know algebra. So when it comes to a person who gets angry easily, dealing with children in a classroom situation can easily be frustrating, and the more frustrating situation, the more we need to master our ability to stay in positive states. Number 5 is finding solutions to situations that get you angry. Say a person, their family, somebody's always losing a key. So got to make a lot of copies of the key and have in different rooms. So it means keep figuring out in any given situation what is the problem and what is a potential solution. 6, keep developing tools and techniques to conquer anger, both to overcome anger once we get angry and to prevent ourselves from getting angry in the first place. So the one tool that's fairly easy to use, and it's easy if the more you practice it, counting from 10 to 1 slowly, and after each number, say deeper and deeper relax. So you go like this, 10, deeper and deeper relax. Everybody together. 9, deeper and deeper relax. 8, deeper and deeper relax. And breathe slowly and deeply, but breathing slowly and deeply calms you down. 7, deeper and deeper relaxed. 6, deeper and deeper relaxed. 5, deeper and deeper relaxed. 4, deeper and deeper relaxed. 3, deeper and deeper relaxed. 2, deeper and deeper relaxed. 1, deeper and deeper relaxed. Either that works, or else you go 20, deeper and deeper relaxed. It's going to work. Just the question is, you might have to go from 100 to 1.
It's only going to work if you reframe, because while you're doing that, you're building and building the anger.
100% right. Exactly. The point very well taken. If while you're doing this thing, I shouldn't have to be doing this, that other person shouldn't have said or did this thing, and that you just can get you more frustrated, and that goes together with wanting to conquer anger in the beginning, because the more we want to, and we don't want to be taken advantage of, rightly so, so we need to keep finding tools and techniques to conquer anger. There is a fellow, he's not alive now, but he was a very interesting fellow. He wrote a book called Verbal Judo, The Gentle Art of Persuasion. He was a black belt in martial arts. He had a PhD in English, and he used to teach Shakespeare. And at the age of 39, he became a street cop. He was bored teaching, and he had a really bad temper. So the first day on the job, he would tell people, if they're speeding or didn't stop for a stop sign, get out of the car and show me your license. And he would say it with such a tone of voice that some people, policeman tells you to do it, no matter how they say it, you listen, you don't start up with the policeman. Okay. There was other people, and as he writes in his book, people who were like himself. If somebody said that to him, he would say, "Who's going to make me?" That's the first thing he would have said to somebody. And he had people saying that to him. But he said, "I'm going to make you, and if you don't listen, I'm going to arrest you." He says, "You can't arrest me for this. I'll just show you I can." He put on handcuffs, and he arrested people. So the first day on the job, he arrested 5 people. So he was called in by the captain, and he thought the captain was commend him for such a good job. First day on the job, he arrested 5 people. He said, "You can't keep arresting people for these minor infractions." He says, "But they don't listen to me." I said, "Get them to listen to you." I don't know. I said, "How do I get them to listen to me?" He said, "That's your problem. Get them to listen to you. You can't keep arresting people like this." Okay, so they set him up with somebody else. And this other person, he said, was a great teacher, and he learned a lot. So one of the first days on the job, they get a call 2 o'clock in the morning, domestic violence. There was neighbors screaming at each other, and other neighbors heard them screaming, and they were scared that they were going to hurt each other. Somebody called police, and they come in, and now this fellow who's a veteran of many years tells this fellow, George, "Be quiet, don't say a word, just watch what I do." So they knock on the door. So people, 2 o'clock in the morning, they're surprised to see the policeman there. So he walks over. He says, he sees the couch. He says, he takes off he sits down by the couch. He takes off his police cap, and he says, "Can you do me a favor? Bring me a glass of water." So they bring him a glass of water, and there's a newspaper. He opens up the newspaper. He looks through the newspaper. Doesn't know what he's doing. They're not screaming at each other, just staring at this policeman who's in their house in the middle of the night and looking at a newspaper. And he says, "Oh, I see there's an advertisement here for a car. This price looks good. Bring me your telephone. And they bring him over a telephone. Didn't have cell phones in those days. And he dials the number. And he picks the phone, but he reeled out the right number. Or just, he may believe he was mad number. He says, I see you have an advertisement here about a car. Baruch Hashem, we're alive, and Baruch Hashem, we can hear. Wonderful, that was perfect timing. So this person, he dials, and he said, what's the matter? You don't want, it didn't say over here, I can't call up in the middle of the night. Anyways, these couple has stopped screaming at each other, and they're looking at him strangely, and he says to them, you're making some noise in the middle of the night. I really would like to continue traveling around, doing what I have to do. I don't want to bother you. I'm sure you don't want me to bother you. Please stop fighting. Go to sleep. Wake up tomorrow. Work. Settle it tomorrow peacefully. But keep quiet for now. You will. If you give me your word, you'll keep quiet. You won't fight. So I'll leave. So he says, "Yeah, we will give you our word, sir." And so George said to this other guy when they were leaving the house, he said, that was fascinating. He says, "Yeah, see how it worked. You distract them, and then they stop arguing, and that's it." So he learned a lot, and he developed a system called verbal Judo, which is the most important thing is empathy, which is entering the world of the other person. And this is very important. Rav Dessler has a whole essay in this about how the value of understanding people from their perspective. Because when you look at your own perspective, you're going to get in arguments. The more we can enter another person's world. So even though you think the person's wrong, but if you understand and you're respectful to people, they calm down. So we had, one tool is counting from 10 to 1. There's different tools we have in the book, but being able to go to the balcony, mentally go to the balcony and imagine that you're seeing a scene in front of you on a screen. There's a play and you're in the balcony. There is one idea of, this was said by a sales trainer. He said that, let's say a person is nervous about making cold calls. And you have to go to an office or somebody's house to presentation of a sale. So it says, if you're really nervous, mentally stay in the car the whole time. Send in an actor playing psychiatrist. So really you're going in the person's office or their house. However, mentally you imagine you're still in the car and you're sending an actor playing psychiatrist. Now psychiatrists are usually good at people screaming at them. They expect people to be not in the most sane states and therefore are used to and trained to stay calm even though people are screaming at them. Especially if somebody's a bit psychotic, a psychotic episode. But you're not really a psychiatrist. You're an actor playing psychiatrist, so you realize the whole thing is just an act. So when you have that mental position, and that's what your perspective is, you'll be able to handle things much better. So you're staying in the car, send an actor playing psychiatrist. So we have a number of different tools in chapter 6, but those two are very helpful, especially counting from 10 to 1 slowly and breathing slowly. 7 is, which we mentioned right away before, that we should develop the positive traits and states that are antidotes to anger. Humility, joy, patience. There's a state that's called centered, focused, and flowing. So if you're centered, you focus on what's going on and you flow. So being centered. So no matter how upset you are, you say, okay, now I'm going to allow myself to be centered. Centered, focused, and flowing. And it takes a lot of practice because the more frequently we have a pattern, the more it becomes second nature. Hergel nasa teva. Habit becomes second nature. So the more we practice this ability to stay centered and focused, we'll be able to interact with other people in a way that's good for ourselves, good for them. Again, the key element is mutual respect and know what's my outcome, what goal, what's my real goal over here? What do I want to accomplish? Keeping your mind on your outcome, you avoid saying things that get the other person needlessly upset, and watching your tone of voice. That's why tone of voice is so important. So in the book, chapters 8 and 9 are mental programs for getting ourselves in calmer states. Okay, so different types of anger. Now the Talmud says, it talks about anger, it says there's 4 different levels of dealing with anger. There's a person it's easy to get angry, easy to let it go. A person it's difficult to get angry, difficult to let it go. The worst level is a person it's easy to get angry, difficult to let it go. He's called a Rasha, evil, because he's end up hurting other people and causing a lot of problems for himself and others. And the highest level, called a chassid, a righteous person, is a person it's hard to get angry, easy to let it go. Rarely gets angry, and it's easy with a slight apology, they let it go, and sometimes people don't apologize, they still let it go. Notice what's missing. There's one level missing, and that is the level of never getting angry. And the commentaries say, it doesn't say never getting angry because it doesn't expect us to be that way.
You could be in all 4 of those categories.
At different times, different places. Yeah,
Different people, different situations.
exactly,
different
right.
personalities.
100% right.
You.
Exactly, yes. And that's why in the book, Gateway to Self-Knowledge, in every trait, I mention which way are you, with which people are you this way. There's some people might never get us angry. The way they talk and the way they are, we find them, they have a sense of humor, we like them a lot, and we're able to be calm. And some people, they right away trigger off different triggers of getting us angry. Yeah?
Is it worth telling the person that you're trying to do this?
Depends always, a very good question, but whether there's a very big principle, the meaning of communication results you get. So it depends on the person you're talking to. So if you talk to a person, you say, I'm really trying to develop my ability to stay calm in situations, and they'll say, that's wonderful, I'll really try to help you, and let's see what I can do together, and that's amazing. And now sometimes you get somebody when I say, oh, finally you're willing to work on it, you realize that it's all your problem. And usually the person who would say that is a person who is challenging to deal with. So we always have to use our judgment based on our past experience with somebody and what is our goal and how we think this person will respond to it. Okay, so because the goal is to master our traits, to be able to stay cool, calm, and collected, thinking clearly, even in challenging situations. And it's as the more we practice, the better we get.